Hurricane Milton, it's time for a Nassau County clash in our Varsity 4 Game of the Week as Yulee and Fernandina Beach meet for the high school football version of Monday Night Football. Along with Justin Barney, I'm Cole Pepper. Justin, this game was scheduled to be played at Yulee, but when the game was moved from Friday to Monday, it was moved to Fernandina Beach High School as well because of some logistical issues. Still, this is always a big one in Nassau County.
Great one in Nassau County, and Yulee has entered this, winning 10 in a row in this Nassau County series. And Cole, there's just something about these smaller school rivalry games where it's Nassau County, Clay County, St. Johns County, whatever it is in these smaller counties, these games just mean more, and this is certainly one that means a lot to both of these programs and this community.
Our players to watch in this one are the quarterbacks for Yulee. It's Preston Matricardi, who is not only going to start as a sophomore here at quarterback, he is one of the top pitching prospects in the area, signed with Florida State Baseball as an 8th grader. He's got that live left arm, and he'll have it on display here tonight for Yulee. And for Fernandina Beach, they have been through some quarterbacks. Beckham Rohi, a converted wide receiver and linebacker, is the 3rd quarterback to start this season for the Pirates. He makes his 4th start after Brody Clemens and Ian Miller were injured earlier this year. The two coaches looking for a win here tonight for Yulee. It's Kyle Doherty in his 4th season, 22-18. Last year they went 9-3 and went to the playoffs. And for Fernandina Beach, it is an alum of Fernandina Beach High School, Blake Willis, in his 1st year. He played on the last team to have back-to-back winning seasons at his alma mater and has already led his school to more wins this season than he had a year ago. Again, this game has been, like so many of them, Justin, affected and impacted by Hurricane Milton and the planning and the concerns. It has been a long time in coming for these two teams.
Yeah, it's on again, off again. It was at Yulee, it was off. Now it's at Fernandina Beach. But it's good to see this one actually being played on a Monday night. And I think Fernandina Beach had a Monday night game a couple Mondays ago, it feels like, against West Nassau. So they are accustomed to playing these out-of-character Monday night games. And I know they'll hope for a little bit better of a result than that 37-19 loss for West Nassau the last time they played.
Now, these county games always mean a little something extra. The rivalry between these two schools is real. They are fairly close, only about 12 miles apart, but different personalities of the student bodies, to be sure. It has been a fairly one-sided rivalry as of late.
It has, and it's been dominated by Yulee. Now, we had the Derrick Henry years, where he was dominant, in the Kelvin Rainey year when he was running through Fernandina Beach. But outside of that, it has been Yulee, dominated by Yulee. You expected it to happen when those heavyweights were there, but Yulee has just continued the beat of that drum, and they've won 10 in a row, and quite a few others outside of that. Fernandina Beach, the school at Yulee, the athletes were at before Yulee opened, certainly want to rectify that. And you see their record this year. They're 4-3, not 4-2 as we indicated earlier, but 4-3 this season. And county supremacy on the line. And this one, of course, West Nassau has a head start in Nassau County, but this one would be huge for the Pirates to muscle in and get one over Yulee. This is their year to do it. Hornets at 1-5.
Both of these teams have dealt with injuries. We will talk about the extent of those injuries as the game goes on. We mentioned earlier that Fernandina Beach has seen 2 starting quarterbacks go down with injuries this year. Yulee has been absolutely ravaged by injuries, and they have lost as many as 20 players who they expected to play some role this season, including 7 of them who went down before the season's opening game. Fernandina Beach will kick it off from right to left. Technically, they are the road team, although they are playing on their home field here. And Yulee will get set to return this kickoff to start the ball game. After the storms have gone through, weather has been absolutely picture perfect today, and a good crowd has filed in at Fernandina Beach High School.
And and good to see this one actually come to fruition. This is a massive gate game in terms of what this means financially to the schools, so you hate to lose this one, but it's still a great crowd here for an out-of-character 6 p.m. kick on a Monday night.
Yeah, a lot of out-of-character here. 6 p.m. Monday, the home team's the road team. Getting some football in here after the Storms have passed. Here is the kick taken at the 12-yard line, and a little end around on the return. And coming forward for Yulee is Ethan Myers.
Matthews, number 11, passed off to number 5, Ethan Myers.
And Myers, who had a 90-yard kickoff return earlier this year, able to bring it out a bit. And we'll see Myers utilized quite a bit running the football for this Yulee team. Preston Matricardi, though, with a lot of this game going to be on his shoulders to direct. Yulee, one of the players they lost was a very talented freshman, TJ Williamson, who already has Power 5 offers. He's an outstanding running back and cornerback, described by Kyle Doherty as an electric athlete. And so it has fallen to Myers to run the football, and after the penalty, it'll be 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line. Excellent starting position for the Hornets. We'll see some tight end utilized. Sage Newberry in there as a tight end. Matricardi going to throw it on 1st down and connects. This one caught by Newberry, the tight end. He has a 1st down deeper into Fernandina Beach territory, and a well-designed first play for the Hornets.
I know you're going to people judge by the record. Yulee at 1-5, Fernandina at 4-3. You say heavily tilted toward the Pirates, but this schedule has been tough for the Hornets.
Quick throw to the near side, caught by DJ Mason. Mason looking for a block. He had Jaquan Matthews out in front and able to take it down inside the 25-yard line. Well, 4 losses for Yulee against teams from the state of Florida. They also lost to Charlton County. But in those 4 losses to Florida teams, by an average of just 4 points. They could very easily be 5-1 if they made a couple more plays, and maybe if they were a little more healthy. Here's Myers on the run. He picks up a 1st down to the 5, and he is into the end zone. Touchdown. Ethan Myers caps a very impressive drive to open the game for Yulee.
That's why I say don't look at that record and be fooled. This Yulee team is very capable of winning. You mentioned how close these losses were for them. And you see with this opening drive, they go right down the field. They just about takes out Olivia Tasley of Action News on the carry. But they are good. They are better than that record indicates. And I think we're going to see that tonight.
Very impressive opening drive for the Hornets. The extra point by Daniel Armenta is up and good. So Yulee looking for their 2nd victory of the season, off to a great start here in this Nassau County matchup. And now we'll see how Fernandina Beach responds on defense. But I don't think you could have drawn up any better a start for Kyle Doherty's team than to march right downfield after a good return, a penalty, a couple of big plays.
Yeah, I like what they did on that opening drive. And you really, when you look back at this Yulee team last year, you had a passing offense. Nico Smith, very, very good quarterback, 19 touchdown passes. And then you completely remake this offense with Preston Matricardi. Expecting TJ Williamson there, but he has been out. So a completely different looking Yulee offense. We've got an update on our Super 10. A lot of good games. Did not happen last week, but they're happening tonight. An update on the Super 10. Rains, Madison County canceled. They're at 1. Nice, Bartram Trail. That was supposed to be tonight. That has been pushed off. I'll have a little bit more about the reason why later. Bradford lost last week to Newberry 21-7. St. Augustine Clay tonight. Jackets at 4. Bowles played last week. They're at 5. Mandarin Fletcher postponed last week until this Friday. They're at 6 still. Oak Leaf was off with last week. And then 8, 9, and 10, Ponte Vedra, Beachside, and Creekside.
Kickoff goes out of bounds, so that'll be a procedure call. And it will give Fernandina Beach excellent starting field position as they come out for their first drive. You talk so much about how football is a game of cycles and routines. Both of these teams, both of these coaches, completely thrown out of their routines this week, although some of that has happened this year. There have been cancellations of games and had to change when practice is being held and where it's being held. One of the things I think is going to separate good teams from very good teams, how they adapt. And this is a game of adaptation here this evening. Fernandina Beach starts their first drive at their own 35-yard line after the kickoff out of bounds. And the handoff goes up the middle, and nothing doing there as they tried to get it up the gut.
Years ago, Joey Wiles, former St. Augustine coach, said football players and coaches are creatures of habit. We're used to playing at 7 or 7:30 on Friday nights, and when you throw things out of the mix, whether it's a 10 a.m. in the morning state championship game or a game on a Monday night, it gets you out of your comfort zone, and you've got to be able to adapt to weather the storm and treat it just like a Friday night football game.
Number 7 on the carry. We do not have a number 7 on the roster, but it may be a new jersey for Deontay Sims, the junior running back. Quick throw out to the near side, caught by Jeremiah Jordan, and Jordan forward to about the initial line of scrimmage, the 35, but no further than that. Jordan, a bit of a Wes Welker type slot player.
Number 6, Jordan.
I like we're talking about players this week, and he was mentioned as a Wes Welker type player, that exact term. I like that. You like to see the Wes Welker reference.
It will be a 3rd down and 9 from the 36-yard line. Beckham Rohe started the season as a wide receiver and linebacker. In at quarterback, throws to the far side, and this one caught by Aiden Poe, and he's got a first down. That ball held up in the air quite a while, but able to make the catch and go. Poe, by the way, if something were to happen to Rohe, would be the next quarterback in for Fernandina Beach. Of course, Blake Willis hoping he doesn't have to go to another wide receiver.
Yeah, they've had injury problems at quarterback, and that's been something we've seen on our Game of the Week coverage. Columbia, another team that had issues, and they had to convert a receiver to quarterback, and Fernandina Beach hoping that's not the case again tonight.
Hand it off again. Sims running right and squirts forward past the 50 and into Yulee territory. Well, Brody Clemens, the senior, was intended to be the starting quarterback for this team. Injured his ACL in the very first game of the season. Ian Miller came in, a junior, and played a few games, got a wrist injury, continued to play, then came out and is healing up with that wrist. But Rohe then moved over. A guy who's been around the program quite a bit. His older brother played middle linebacker at Fernandina Beach, Brooks. Here's the handoff again. Sims has the first down inside the 40 down to the 39-yard line. But the transition from Clemens to Miller and now to Rohe has meant that Blake Willis, the head coach at Fernandina Beach, has had to simplify the passing game in some regards, make the reads more basic, and added a little bit more in the running game.
And when you do, this is not NFL, this is not college, when you lose a receiver, you lose a quarterback, you really lose 2 positions. You got to replace the guy under center, and you've got to replace the guy he's throwing balls to.
High snap, pulled down by Rohe, gives it off. Sims running right and puts his shoulder down and rams his way past the 35 to about the 33-yard line. Sims is averaging 100.5 yards per game this year for Fernandina Beach. His goal was to get to 1,000 yards on the season, and he's on pace to do just that.
Keeping the ball on the ground, and I had the one pass completion on this drive, but it's been steady ground and pound. The Fernandina Beach Pirates.
2nd and call it 4 for the Pirates, trying to answer the opening Yulee touchdown. Sims again, going to be close to a first down, maybe half a yard shy.
Keeper, and he just found that crack in there. It's like a yard and a half or so shy of that marker. Beckham also played a little bit of outside linebacker as well.
Well, you make that normal transition from linebacker to quarterback. And he's going to run it here, trying to get some linebacker muscle in there, and stopped short by the Yulee defense. Michael Jones in there along with Tegan Rebane making the stop up the middle. Also saw 22 Jason Brown making a stop. Speaking of injuries, the Yulee linebacking core has really been through it. There are 3 linebackers who are expected to be regulars who are injured and out for this game, if not the season. Rebane also was a starter, had a kid fall on him in practice, had a shoulder injury, and finally has come back the last 2 weeks to play. They'll go for it on 4th down, and this one is going to come up short as well as they ran Sims into the line, but the Yulee defense makes the stop, and it has been an outstanding start for the Hornets, who came in with 1 win on the season, looking more like the team leading in the standings.
Great play there. First contact at the line by the big defensive lineman, Ryan Murphy. Only a sophomore, too. Big boy, 5'11", 240, and he made that contact at the line, and Sims not able to move him at all. Great defensive stop for Yulee. And they're now in position to milk this clock and get something else by the end of this first quarter. Well, we haven't had a lot positive to talk about when it comes to the Jaguars, but we still talk about the Jaguars. Jamal St. Cyr and I have a new podcast out today on the Jaguars, their struggles, and what they need to do to change. You can listen to that wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And we have a big run here, switching gears from the Jaguars. They need a lot more of that type of play.
Ethan Myers on the run. And the running back who scored the touchdown earlier, off to a hot start here for the Hornets.
Yeah, talking about Jaguars need a play like that. Jaguars need some Ethan Myers kind of juice in that lineup. And one big play, they're all the way on the other side of the field. Preston Matricardi has not had to do much tonight, but give the ball to his backs.
He will hand it off on the end around. And a little playbook action there, and Cannon Lindemood winds up with it. And Lindemood able to turn it upfield. There is a penalty marker on the play. They're going to get Braylon Crowder for a hold, the senior left guard. Kyle Doherty had a couple extra days to think about the playbook, and he's pulled a couple of tricks out.
Yeah, it's been a steady assault here. We talk about Preston Matricardi and him being a electric baseball pitcher committed to Florida State, but we have not seen that arm tonight. He has had no reason to throw the ball. Handoff, and they are moving the ball in chunks.
Out for the penalty, so it's 1st and 20 now from the 40-yard line. Handed off to Myers again. Trying to break away and finally gang tackled after a gain of 4. Myers also a converted wide receiver. We've seen some players move from different positions. We also expect to see Shamar Gibbs running the football for Yulee, and Corbin Fletcher has also gotten a few carries so far this season as Myers goes to the sideline.
Such a different Yulee team than I saw from last year. Such a pass-heavy attack last season. No ground and pound tonight.
A wild snap. Matricardi tries to track it down. It's picked up by Gibbs. He thought about throwing it and has thrown for a huge loss all the way back to the 40-yard line.
Shamar, a good opportunity just to get on that ball. He tried to make something happen, but a bad snap. Preston tried to grab it, fell out of his hands, and I think Shamar was contemplating maybe throwing that ball.
Yeah,
but
maybe try to get any completion.
Probably did the right thing there by just getting down, not risking more damage than what we just saw.
We will let you know that the scoreboard clock is not operating right now, so time is being kept on the field. We will do our best to keep you updated on that if we have a way to let you know how much time is left in each quarter. This is 3rd down and a country mile, something you might have to travel in Nassau County. Matricardi going to try to throw this one. Fires one downfield, incomplete. looking down the middle of the field for DJ Mason, but could not connect with his leading wide receiver. So 4th down coming up, and the punting team will come on.
Between a penalty and the bad snap, really wasted a excellent opportunity for Yulee to get back in the end zone after that great first drive. So now the Pirates going to get the ball back, look to do something of their own after getting stopped on 4th and 1.
Corbin Fletcher, we mentioned as a backup running back, is the punter for Yulee. Gets this one away, and it takes a Hornets bounce inside the 25, and will be touched down to the 22-yard line. Well, we've seen some flashes of brilliance from both teams so far today, but as it stands right now, just a 7-0 Yulee lead in the first quarter.
You had an opportunity to do something on that drive at Yulee, and of course the penalty followed by the bad snap erased that. And then Fernandina Beach had a chance to get inside the red zone, and they were stopped on 4th down. Big tackle by the defensive lineman Ryan Murphy. See if Fernandina Beach can manufacture something on this drive like it did its last.
1st and 10, called the 23. High snap pulled down by Rohe. Going to dump it off over the middle on a screen, in and out of the hands of Sims, and incomplete. That one never really looked like it developed the way it was drawn up. Take another look.
Lucky that one wasn't a tip drill.
Malik Jones, mentioned his twin brother Michael Jones earlier. He played the defensive end spots for Yulee, 15 and 19. And we'll keep an eye out for number 52, Turtle Ricks, who is one of the top two-way players on the line for Yulee. Right on the nose right now on 2nd down and 10. Rohe going to run it himself. And not much doing up the middle of that Yulee line.
Talk about tradition at local high schools. You cannot talk about tradition when you talk about Nassau County schools without two of the best to ever do it in our area. Of course, Derrick Henry at Yulee and Terrence Flagler over at Fernandina Beach. Two excellent football players. Hailing from tiny little Nassau County, they put out some great football players down there.
On 3rd down, Rohe to throw it. Looking deep down the near sideline for Aiden Poe. This one is picked off. Intercepted by Jaden Wright, and Yulee forces the turnover, and they'll have it in Fernandina Beach territory.
Threw that ball up there, and it's probably about as good as you could have expected with a punt, but not what you wanted to do. Fernandina, nothing going on this drive after a really solid start on this opening drive.
Take another look here. Well read by Wright, the junior.
Not enough juice on that long ball to connect.
Yulee takes over on the interception. Ball is on the
Wright just sat under it, and an easy pick for him. And Yulee going to start on the Pirates side of the field, trying to get something going on this 3rd drive of the game.
Matt Riccardi hands it off. Myers running up the middle, able to find a little bit of a hole to the 45. Boy, if Yulee can drive down here and score again, take a 2-touchdown lead, you would think that the confidence of the Hornets would really soar. They have been fighting through the disappointment of losing close games all year long. We mentioned, other than the game at Charlton County, always a tough place to play, where they lost 42-14. The rest of the games that they've lost have been very close. Myers again, running behind left guard, able to pick up a few more. They opened the season with a 1-point loss at home to Union County. Lost by 3 at Clay. Lost by 1 to West Nassau. And then we're in it to the end against Terry Parker 10 days ago. Wound up losing an 11-point game there. That was the biggest loss in terms of Florida competition. And that's the end of the first quarter.
Not a bad assembly in terms of schedule. You see 1 and 5. I think if Kyle Dowdery could have that one back, it would probably be the West Nassau game. you lose to a county rival like that by 1, I think that's the one you'd like to get back if you're Kyle and the Hornets. That lost to Union County, not bad at all. The Tigers are one of the best teams in the rural classification, undefeated at this point. And then, of course, the Parker game. But if you're the Hornets, you're completely remaking this team from the pass offense that you were last year. So far different team this year than the Hornets trotted out last season. So I think a win here tonight would go a long way. Good time to remind you that CW17 has a lot going on, especially on Fridays and Saturdays. We got Live Golf on the weekends, CW playoffs, Xfinity Series racing, NASCAR is on CW, and then ACC football, college football Saturday. That's on CW. A lot of sports to choose from if you're a sports fan like Cole and I.
And getting things started here in the second quarter, Matt Riccardi throws and connects. And it's Newberry, his tight end, with a second catch of the ball game. Newberry down near the 31-yard line. Take another look at this one on Matt Riccardi on the rollout. In addition to playing as a pitcher for the baseball team, also plays some outfield. Showed a good little bit of range there. Impressive. Anytime you commit as an 8th grader, Justin, to any college, it's pretty impressive. When you're a pitcher and you commit to Florida State, where there have been some great pitchers through the years, that really gets your attention. This time, Matt Riccardi throws and completes to the far side. Cannon Lindemood picks up 8 on first down.
In terms of commitments, baseball tends to be the early one. The commitments come early on. I think far different than you see on the football field. But to get an offer, a committable offer, as a kid who's not even in high school yet, it says something that Link Jarrett, the staff of the Seminoles, believe in Preston Matt Riccardi.
2nd and short. They run it up the middle with Fletcher. His first carry of the game. And Fletcher picks up the first down for Yulee. Yeah, this rivalry is interesting as well, between kind of triangulate the Nassau County rivalry and the different textures. The two sides kind of make fun of each other. The student bodies, the folks at Yulee will dress up like the folks at Fernandina Beach, which means they're wearing, khakis and polos. And the student body at Fernandina Beach will dress up like the guys from Yulee, which usually means camo and cowboy hats.
And it's interesting when I remember covering Derrick Henry and talking to Derrick, Bobby Ramsey back in the day. They always said that Fernandina Beach game was one you did not need any help to get excited and get up for, because you heard about that all week in school. You heard about that in the community. Yulee was open to help over the overcrowding issue at Fernandina Beach. So these schools separated by not that long, and that rivalry has been there since Yulee opened.
2nd down, give it again. Here's Fletcher trying to get to the edge, dragged down right at the first down marker at the 6-yard line. I think he's going to be half a yard shy, but they've been able to run the football, Yulee. And when you think Yulee and you see the running game, the aforementioned Derrick Henry's name pops right to mind. Not exactly Derrick Henry here on this field. I don't know that there ever has been a high school runner like that, but they are running it right now. And they'll hand it off again. And down to the goal line and in for the touchdown. It's Shamar Gibbs, and Yulee, just as they did in their first drive of the first quarter, score a touchdown on the first drive of the second quarter.
3 or 4 different players touched the ball that drive. And that just showcases how successful Yulee is having moving this ball. Pass to the big tight end, set this drive in motion, and then you give the ball to 3 different ball carriers, and Yulee is about to go up 14-0 pinning this PAT. And this could this be the game where Yulee kind of clicks for the Hornets? They've been snake bitten in 4 of their losses this season. Could this be what helps kickstart them towards that final stretch run?
Well, now a penalty on Fernandina Beach, so they bring the kicking team off and put Matt Riccardi back in there, and they'll go for 2 from just a half a yard away. Give it to Gibbs, running left, basically the same play, gets to the goal line and push back. He will not get it. So it remains a 13-0 Yulee lead, as Fernandina Beach's defense able to stiffen here right at the goal line on a big hit by O.J. Swift, the cornerback, a guy who has been a interception machine this year. Makes a big tackle at the goal line to stop the 2-point try.
Now, if you like sports, we've got that, but we've also got some wrestling. NXT is coming to you on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. on CW17. Catch all kinds of up-and-coming wrestling talent. NXT Tuesday nights on CW17.
Kickoff coming from Yulee as the Hornets have a 13-0 lead. Evan Murray and Jeremiah Jordan back deep to return this kick from Daniel Armenta. Line drive kick. This one gets into the end zone. It will be a touchback.
A couple scores from around the area, Cole. We got a busy Monday night. More than a dozen high school football games. St. Aug up 35-0 over Clay in the first quarter.
Ooh.
A big one there. If you played the Jackets in fantasy football this week, I think you're probably winning. Another one, Fleming Island in a big district game. They're up 10-0 over my 9th-ranked Beachside Barracudas. Of course, Barracudas coming off a nice win over Tokoi Creek a couple weeks ago in our game of the week. I was at a Zarephath Academy Duval Charter game earlier, Cole. It was 26-0 when I left in the first quarter. The second-ranked passing offense in the entire country of the Eagles.
On 1st and 10 from the 20, high snap. Rohi has to go up to get it and can't go anywhere after that. He is taken down by Tegan Ravane, who makes the stop behind the line of scrimmage. This one was trouble from the beginning. It has been pretty much all Yulee so far. As you see, Ravane, the middle linebacker, coming in to make the stop. Loss of 4 on the play. 2nd and 14. Another high snap. The snaps have been troublesome in this game for both sides.
Both teams have had issues with those high snaps.
Nothing doing on the run there by Sims. But talking about what Yulee has gone through this year, Kyle Doherty said it's taken a lot of self-reflecting losing those games. He says it really challenges him. It's not even so much how the things have occurred. He says, I can probably admit there are a lot of flaws that I've had this year in not holding expectations high enough. And the thing that I can say is I didn't really push the envelope in our preparation. Well, he was going to be very certain to push the envelope in preparation for this one, and it showed up. Another bad snap, and Rohi all the way back to the 1-yard line to cover it up.
So 2 bad snaps.
And Rohi might be hurt.
That we've seen that have really hurt both of these teams. Nearly a safety or a defensive touchdown there. And we had the snap for Yulee on its last drive, 2 drives ago, where you ended up having to punt off of it.
You see Rohi coming off the field as the punt team comes on. That'll be something worth watching. We mentioned Rohi, the 3rd quarterback to start a game this year for Fernandina Beach. And looked like he might have come down on the hip. Take another look here, see if we can detect exactly what happened as he dove back on this ball.
Great way to set his feet and actually be able to recover that ball by not sliding into the end zone. And
short punt taken here by Yulee. Coming upfield to the left side is Jaquan Matthews, and Matthews will take it in. A flag is down. We'll see if it stands, but Jaquan Matthews took it to the house.
Great block there on that return too by Yulee.
See if this is a block in the back. We'll try to sort it out.
during the return. We had a personal foul, blindside block on the return team, number 1. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
That'll bring the return back, but still will be excellent field position for Yulee. Boys, you see the punt. Hudson Kenner almost stepped out on the back line, didn't have much room to operate.
Want to prevent this game from getting out of reach for Fernandina Beach.
1st and 10 from the Pirates' 40-yard line for the Hornets. Matt Riccardi hands it off. Myers has a seam, breaking one tackle and another. Flag comes in right at the end as Myers picked up the first down. We'll see if it stands. Myers has been running tough for a former wide receiver.
Holding
Usually
58 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Self-inflicted mistakes, Cole. You had the block, the illegal block on the punt return that wiped the touchdown off the board. And then you've got a hold right there, which negates another big play. Between penalties and bad snaps, both these teams plagued a little bit by self-inflicted mistakes.
Matt Riccardi, quick throw to the right side. This one caught by Mason, who is spun forward inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. You can see the live arm on Matt Riccardi. Doesn't take much for him to unleash it. And back to the hurry up. Running play, and they'll pick up a first down. That's Myers once again running with the football. Yulee has been very impressive here in the first half, driving to try to improve on this 13-0 lead.
Really not doing it through the air, too, and I thought I'd see a lot more of Preston Matt Riccardi, but he's not had to throw it a lot.
Myers again, big hole on the right side, gets to the edge, cuts it back, and he's down inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for the Hornets. Let's give credit on that offensive line. The tight end Sage Newberry along with Cody Osborne and Peyton Raines on the right side of the line for the Hornets, opening up a big hole for Ethan Myers to run through.
Massive hole. Ethan just followed the block and a sea of green in front of him. What a great textbook blocking by the tight ends and the right side of that line.
There's Matt Riccardi under pressure on first down and spun down, sacked back at the 15-yard line. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We may not see another throw here the way that Yulee's been running the football.
And why would you? They have run the ball extremely well. Offensive line winning at the point of attack. Matt Riccardi's had success throwing when he's thrown, but they have not needed to. The clock is running. They are just going right at Fernandina Beach and saying, hey, we're going to run this until you stop us. You've not stopped us so far. Yulee's biggest issues have been bad snaps and penalties.
That was Luke Brinkley on the sack for Fernandina Beach. His first sack of the season. Matt Riccardi from the shotgun. He'll throw it. Surprised here. Goes into double coverage, and it's knocked away. Incomplete. O.J. Swift, who has 6 interceptions this season, almost had a 7th.
The 2 balls tonight. One was picked by Yulee early on, but very similar. You're throwing into double coverage and putting a little bit too much air under it, and Preston lucky that one was not picked off. Same throw was picked off earlier by Yulee.
I'm a bit surprised after the success that Yulee has had that you go back-to-back passes.
One nearly picked, and the other Preston was dropped for a sack. So yeah, I trying to mix it up, I get, but I don't know about throwing in the goal to go kind of situation here.
3rd and goal from the 15, a 3rd pass in a row, and this one caught at the 2 and tackled right there, and they say incomplete, now not held on to.
Good hit there to
Cannon
break that up.
Lindemood couldn't hang on. So after running basically at will, 3 straight passes result in 2 incompletions and a sack.
What a hit there by Hunter Johns, I believe, to break that up.
So that'll bring in Armenta, who will attempt a 33-yard field goal. Would be his longest make of the year. It's up, and it is no good, wide to the right. So after all that, Fernandina Beach still down by 13.
You're Fernandina Beach, you got to feel pretty confident and comfortable with what you did on that drive there.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming up,
Especially that big hit defensively to stop that touchdown at the one. If you like high school sports, you'll love our Varsity 4 podcast every week, usually on Monday, maybe on Tuesdays. Sponge Franklin and I talk to you about all things high school sports, talk about our Super 10 games to watch. That's coming to you tomorrow on News4JAX.com on the sports page, or get it where you listen to your podcast, like Apple or Spotify. Sponge Franklin and I every Tuesday or Wednesday on the Varsity 4 podcast.
I suspect that when you guys circle back, you'll probably be talking about the extension of the season, everything being pushed back by a week by the FHSAA to allow for teams to make up games that were lost in the storms. Here is a handoff. They give it to Sims, coming to the near side, cut down in the backfield. He will lose yardage. Maddox Brooks, the sophomore linebacker, came up for Yulee to make the stop. Look at him chase it down from the backside.
Good play there. Fernandina Beach has got a little bit of momentum after that defensive drive there. You hold them to without points. Great hit at the goal line to force the incompletion, and then the missed field goal. A little bit of momentum for the Pirates.
Rohe in there at quarterback after being banged up on the last drive. He dumps it off short. This one is caught and carried forward by Ethan Watts, the tight end. And Watts going to be close to a first down. Just a quick little read, simplifying the passing game.
Ethan Watts. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll move the chains for a
They will give him forward progress to the 30 and a first down for Fernandina Beach. This is a big drive for Fernandina Beach. They might not get the ball back in this first half.
You got to get something here if you're Fernandina Beach. You got to put a good drive here together. That first drive of the game was your best one. Stopped on 4th and 1, but showed you could move the ball.
Another bit of a high snap. This one handled by Rohe. Nothing doing in the running game up the middle. Malik Jones in there to make the tackle along with Turtle Ricks. Both the Jones brothers getting off the pile. Sims has been the primary ball carrier in this ball game. He is going to get probably most of the carries for Fernandina Beach here, especially considering how thin they are on the offensive side of the football. Just a 1-yard gain. So 2nd down and 9. Sims again, caught in the backfield, tries to get away, looking for a block. It gets worse for him. He goes all the way back to the 15-yard line before Michael Jones puts him to the ground. Both of the Joneses keeping up with the running game.
I like the reference. Yeah, you're trying to make something out of nothing on that play. I don't think I can blame him there for trying to stretch it out, but just too little, too late. Good play from Mr. Jones there in the backfield.
It was Parker Wilson who made the initial hit that really clogged things up, but Michael Jones finishing things off. Here comes pressure again, and Rohe dumps it off short. Is this one a catch? It was, they say. Grabbed by Ethan Watts, the tight end.
Have a charge team timeout. Yulee.
And Yulee calls a timeout. Stop the clock wherever it happens to be. You see a very nice catch there by Ethan Watts. The ball that's behind him. Blake Willis talked about trying to return Fernandina Beach to previous glories. And he was on the last team we mentioned that had back-to-back winning seasons. He took over a team that went 3-7 last year under Apollo Wright, who had taken a job at Morgan State. And Willis admitted that they're still trying to build and sort of change things, the culture, trying to make a winning culture of things at Fernandina Beach. And with a winning record this year, he seemed to have been well on his way to doing just that, but his team is going to have to overcome some adversity here.
And I think Fernandina Beach, as well as West Nassau, did the right thing this season in electing to go to the Sunshine State Athletic Association. It allows them to be more competitive, to play teams of their very similar size and skill level. It did no good when Fernandina Beach or West Nassau are in there with the likes of the Bulls, the Jackson. You cannot compete in that. And at the Sunshine State Athletic Association level, West Nassau 7-1 this season. Fernandina Beach 4-3 this season. Has had some good losses. Zarephath Academy was one of those losses. Fort White was another loss. Two exceptionally good teams. So you're competing against the teams, and you've got a chance for a playoff run in the SSAA. And I like what they've done. It gives these kids a chance to compete and a chance for some success when you just did not have that luxury before when you were in a district.
There has been so much change in the landscape of high school sports, high school football in particular, in terms of classification systems and where everybody ranks. Yulee got to call a timeout here before they
Number 2 for Yulee.
get going again. And we'll try to find out how much time is remaining here in the second quarter, but I know time has been waning because of some sustained drives. But the point being that you have a number of teams and schools that have gone through different permutations. And in talking with Kyle Doherty, he said, you know, in the previous system, when they were in the suburban, they felt a little better about things. They thought that, you know, they could compete with some of those schools and not having to play the teams in the metropolitan divisions within Duval County, for instance, was a little bit easier for them. But that the change back to something more closely relating to the previous system was going to be just too difficult, as you mentioned. So they made the switch.
And I think it was a great switch by the administrations there in the athletic departments of both of those schools. It just gives you a chance to compete.
Quick throw out to the near side, and this one not caught by Cannon Lindemood on a ball that was a little bit behind him.
And getting back to that SSAA, there are more teams now in the SSAA than there's ever been, so it's not like Fernandina Beach or West Nassau are going into a situation where they're going to be just a bunch of lightweights in there. You're playing quality competition week after week.
And the travel is not quite as restrictive as it might have been had there not been as many teams in the area who opted to go to the SSAA.
I remember when West Nassau was in a district with Bowles for many years, and I would ask Ricky Armstrong, the Warriors coach, you can have a great season, but you know you're not going to make the postseason because you are up against, back in the day when there were two teams in the district that went, Bowles and Rains were going every year.
Yep.
No matter how good West Nassau was, they'd never get in the playoffs.
3rd and 10. Matt Riccardi running away from pressure. Now throws. This one caught DJ Mason. He's got a first down to the 42-yard line. There is a penalty marker down. Yeah, I called a lot of those games between Bowles and West Nassau when I was calling the Bowles games on radio. And almost every game played out about the same way. West Nassau had a bunch of tough kids, well coached, strong kids, and usually it'd be a close game until maybe the last drive of the first half. Bowles would get a late score, take the opening kickoff, drive downfield, and things would get out of hand.
Yeah, that game,
it wasn't really
those games, you benefited nothing from that. Bowles benefited nothing from that. West Nassau and those schools benefited nothing from that. So I like the opportunity that the SSAA gives teams like the Paxtons and the Stantons and the West Nassaus and Fernandinas.
There is a wide receiver screen. Fairly well defended by Fernandina Beach as they stop Jaquan Matthews at the 40 or the 35-yard line. Yeah, ultimately what everybody wants, players, coaches, fans, administrators, you want good competitive games. Here's Matt Riccardi on the run. Inside the 20, he's got the first down and finally taken down near the 13-yard line.
Kyle Doherty said Preston's a darn good baseball player going to Florida State. He's a great quarterback, but he's also a good basketball player too. He is good at everything he does. You saw that athleticism there.
He will hand it off. Here's Myers running left inside the 5 and down to the 3. Beg your pardon, it's Shamar Gibbs, not Ethan Myers. Gibbs looking for his second touchdown of the game. This ground game has been working for Yulee when they have run the ball. They'll do it again and into the end zone, touchdown. Shamar Gibbs' second score of the game.
The ground game just picking Fernandina Beach apart. And Yulee's had success just about every time it's stuck with that ground game. Right up the middle again. Gibbs gets Yulee into the end zone again. Short yardage run. Like that 2-point conversion does cross that line.
Stretches the lead to 19. And Yulee sends the kicking team out there, but Fernandina Beach will call timeout. With the expanding number of schools in the state of Florida, the state continues to grow population-wise, so you have to add schools to account for that. Having the other option for some of these schools, I think, is a real positive as well. And it has made a softer landing spot for some of the teams that felt like the changes were really kind of pricing them out of competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you. And I think the option of having something like the SSAA, and a credit to the guys there who started that organization, because for many years, FHSA was your only option. And it took state legislation to kind of break that monopoly apart and say, hey, these teams can play teams if there are other associations that come about, and really kind of put in motion something like the SIAC, the Sunshine Independent Athletic Conference, which was the basketball, kind of the basketball only conference. But that led to opening the doors for other associations and other teams to have that opportunity. So love that it gives teams like West Nassau, Fernandina, Paxton, Stanton, Christchurch, those schools the opportunity. Coming up tonight at 10:30, we've got a special edition of Monday Night Football Varsity 4. You see the Fridays on the screen. We'll come to you Fridays as well. But we got a special Monday Night Football edition of Varsity 4. 10:30 tonight. We got highlights of this game as well as the others that are going on. You can catch that tonight. Alessandra Pont-Brian and I will recap the games, the highlights, so much more. Talk about our Super 10 and how those teams fared. Catch that tonight and Friday nights, 10:30 p.m. on Channel 4.
Well, if you're just tuning in here, thinking, hey, maybe a 7 o'clock kickoff. Nope, this one kicked off at 6, and it has been all Yulee, a team looking for their second victory of the season. And they have dominated so far in the first half against their Nassau County rivals. Here's the kickoff from Armenta. It goes into the end zone for a touchback. And scant time here at the end of the second quarter for Fernandina Beach to try to respond. We will do our best to share with you timing when we hear of it, but we've had some scoreboard issues there at Fernandina Beach as this game has played out in the first half.
Got another big win in St. Johns County. St. Augustine up now 42-0 over Clay. Just about the start of the second quarter. Running clock in that one.
We'll see St. Augustine
already
next week against Bartram Trail. Should be a good one in St. Johns County. Rohe takes the shotgun snap. Quick throw to the near side. Caught by Aiden Poe. Poe grabbed and taken down after a gain of 6 on first down. Looking at this game from the beginning, seeing how close the losses had been for Yulee. Even accounting for that, you think, boy, maybe morale might be down a bit. Been through 2 batches of storms and everything else. But boy, give credit to the Hornets. They have come to play in this one for sure. This one connecting to Poe. He has a first down at the 33-yard line. Move the chains for Fernandina Beach.
Yeah, and I mentioned the record of Yulee. You're 1-5. You see that record, you say, man, this team must not be that good. But you touched on it earlier, Cole. They have lost some tough opponents by some close scores, so they are not nearly what that record indicates.
They throw to Watts, the tight end, and he is grabbed around the waist and pulled down by Maddox Brooks. And Fernandina Beach will call timeout, their second of the game. To take a look at the tackle by Brooks. I will say, Fernandina Beach, to me, has one of, if not the best helmet in the area. The highlight to me is that center strip you see right down the middle of the helmet with the flags of all the nations lined up there that have called Nassau County home at one point or another. A real hat tip to the history and tradition in the area.
A lot of it. And if you've not been down to Nassau County quite some time, especially Yulee, you would just be blown away how much that small community has grown. And Fernandina Beach has always been beautiful. I love going to Fernandina Beach and spending time down there, taking the kids to Fort Clinch, going to the beach. But man, Yulee and Fernandina Beach have boomed. Yulee is just has grown exponentially in the last 15 years.
Here's Rohe rolling out, throwing right at the midfield stripe. Catch is made, and Jeremiah Jordan is inbounds, has the first down, and the drive will continue for Fernandina Beach.
Pirates need something. Their best drive of the game was their first one. Not really been able to muster anything since then.
Rohe to throw it. Here comes pressure. Able to get away. Rohe out of bounds inside the 40 at the 38-yard line. Right in the arms of Tegan Rebane, and that is the end of the first half. What a first half it's been for the Hornets from Yulee. A 20-0 lead for the 1-5 Yulee Hornets in this Nassau County rivalry against Fernandina Beach. We saw a dominant running game in the first half from Yulee. 3 touchdowns in the first half for the Hornets. This was a game that was supposed to be played at Yulee's home field, and they are making themselves right at home in Fernandina Beach. Back with the second half in just a few minutes right here on our Varsity 4 Game of the Week.
It's Friday night, where student athletes play with nothing to lose, chasing greatness, building bonds.
And whole communities come together under the lights to witness passion, pride, and moments they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
This is football, high school football. There's no tradition like it.
And we're here to support it. Farrah is proud to sponsor Varsity 4 Football.
A world of ideas comes to life through Gemstone Media. We blend picture and sound, persuasion and emotion, purpose and passion to brand your company and increase sales. We broadcast sports and train military and industrial personnel. Let us demonstrate the power of effective communication. On the air, online, on demand, on time, on budget, on point. Let Gemstone Media get your ideas turned on.
What that really means. It's hit or miss. You will or won't. You have what it takes. Or you know you don't. There's no time for a weak link. The strong survive and the weak sink. When you trust in me, I clear the pathway. Cause I don't do things halfway.
Welcome back as we get ready for the second half of our Varsity 4 game of the week. A little Monday Night Football. It has been all Yulee. The Hornets with a 20-0 lead on Fernandina Beach. Along with Justin Barney, I'm Cole Pepper. And Justin, it was a very impressive first half for the Hornets.
Very good first half, and I think we saw it a little bit more one-sided. All ground and pound for the Hornets, and a little bit of defense too.
Well, we saw a lot of running and a little bit of passing. We saw the quarterback, Preston Matricardi, get involved, but very impressive running from Ethan Myers in the ball game. Fernandina Beach got off to a decent start with Beckham Rohe at quarterback, but they failed to make it on a 4th and 1, and that really opened the door up. The running game from there really took charge for Yulee. Ethan Myers with a big first half. He had a touchdown run. Shamar Gibbs had 2. The interception right there would set up another run by Corbin Fletcher. 3 running backs getting into the action for Yulee, including Gibbs, who had the 2 touchdowns. And on the defensive side, Yulee was very stout as well.
It has been ground and pound and defense too. The bad snaps taking advantage of that. Impressed with the Yulee ground game and that defense.
Now the question is, can Fernandina Beach muster something here and try to make something of it in the second half? All of our Varsity 4 game of the weeks have been very competitive. This is the first time we've had something approaching a blowout in the first half.
It could have gone the other way too, had Fernandina, I think, scored on that opening drive, a little bit more consistent. Then you get stopped on 4th. Yulee goes right down the field and scores, and been all Hornets since then.
3-minute warm-up, please. 3-minute warm-up.
Now they've just announced 3 minutes till the start of the second half. They're going to give the teams a chance to warm up. You see Fernandina Beach coming over to the near sideline. And we talked about what this game really means to both of these teams. One of the things that Kyle Doherty has had to handle with all the rain and everything else, the storms, is how to develop a team that is playing 15 sophomores. He knew this year would be more difficult than last year when he was more of a senior-laden team. But with all the missed practices and so many injuries, how do you develop football skills? And his answer was, well, every practice, you just go to the basics. Every practice is meat and potatoes. And so far, they've been serving up a healthy dose of the running game, and that's been really the meat and potatoes for the Hornets in the first half.
That's the perfect analogy there, because it's been meat, potatoes, bread and butter, whatever cliche you want to split it. It has been fundamental football tonight for the Yulee Hornets. It's running right at you between the tackles, a pass here and there, and then hard-nosed defense. It's really a game plan that I think any coach could get behind and love, and it has been all that. Probably the only team that would not like it is Zarephath Academy, one of the pass first teams in our league. They were up 62-6 at half over Duval Charter.
Oh my.
Everything through the air. One of the highest passing offenses in the entire country. So maybe a little bit different of the meat and potatoes there, but I think any other team outside of the pass-happy Zarephath would embrace this Yulee game plan tonight, and that's just basic, fundamental football.
Well, we'll see how it all plays out here in the second half on a beautiful night in Nassau County.
A beautiful night last Friday night, too.
As it turned out.
2 very, very good nights of high school football after 2 very challenging weather-marred weeks.
Daniel Armenta will kick it away. His first year playing football. He's been a soccer player. And this one being returned by Jeremiah Johnson, who is rolled up at the 22-yard line. And Fernandina Beach will try to get something started. You mentioned on that first drive, failing on the 4th and short, really changed the texture of that first half. If they can get something here, a touchdown drive, it would really change the complexion of this ball game. It will be on Beckham Rohe and the rest of the offense to try to get things started for Fernandina Beach.
I don't want to say this game is over by any stretch of the imagination, but your Fernandina, you got to get something here early right now. You've had good drives in the first half. You've kind of gotten away from navigated some tough situations. That punt out of the end zone, you had an interception in there, and you wind up not giving up anything on that play. You just need something to show for it.
Rohe will throw it on first down. Throws to the far side. This one caught, and turning upfield with a first down gain is Jeremiah Jordan. So they went into the halftime locker room and dialed up an effective first play of the game, of the second half rather.
And you moved the ball well on your final drive of that first half, more so on Rohe's legs than arm, but you got into Yulee territory. You just need something sustained on this drive, and it's got to end with points.
Rohe with Sims next to him in the backfield. Johnson goes in motion. Rohe on the rollout. Going to keep it himself. And it's grabbed at the line of scrimmage. Maybe gets a yard and a half. Talking about playing in the SSAA. And this team's goal for Fernandina Beach was to win the SSAA.
And I think that is a realistic goal for Fernandina. I know you've had injuries and you're on your third different quarterback of the season, converted receiver. But I think that is a very realistic goal. I think that goal is attainable for the teams like the Paxtons, the Christchurch, and I keep referencing those guys because those are teams that have good programs somewhat consistently, and you just know that it's not going to end up with anything to play for at the end of the year because you're playing in district teams and you don't have the arsenal to compete with those guys. So I love the SSAA and what it does for those programs, especially the team we're watching right now for Fernandina Beach.
Aiden Poe on the reception there. We mentioned earlier that he has a D1 offer. Apollo Wright, who was his head coach last year, went off to join the staff at Morgan State and offered Poe, who is now just a sophomore. Really liked everything he saw about him. Thought he would be able to develop. 6'1", 175-pound sophomore.
A lot of sophomores for both of these teams.
Yep. Young teams. We've seen that as a trend around the area. This one going to be right at the first down marker. Alex Pullitz with his first catch of the ball game.
I hate to say anything is out of reach in our game of the week, Cole. I think we saw a 21-0 Trinity Christian lead dissolve in the span of about 3 minutes in the fourth quarter of that game. So 20-0, certainly not a Mount Everest type of wall to scale for the Fernandina Beach Pirates.
Touchdown, stop and touchdown, and you're right there. But it has to start with a score on this drive, you would think. Rohe in the shotgun with that bunch formation to the left, hands it off to Sims up the middle, and he runs forward for a gain of 3 to the 50-yard line.
Good crowd on the visitor side of the stadium, even though Yulee is technically the home team in this situation. Remember, the game was originally scheduled to be held at Yulee High School and was switched venues for tonight to allow this game to go off.
There were administrators, coaches, all kinds of government officials, you name it, who have made put a lot of time into balancing logistics, trying to make it work so that these young men could play important games in their seasons, especially for some of these seniors. It's be a last chance to play against a rival like this.
And these are not, and no disrespect to any of the other opponents, but when you're talking about a county versus a county team, there's just nothing like that in high school football. I know, Fort White, Union County, those are good teams for Fernandina, but they're not like facing up and lining up against the Yulee Hornets team.
On third down, Rohe's quick throw caught by Jeremiah Jordan, and Jordan has the first down inside the 40-yard line. It's been a very deliberate and effective approach through the air here for Fernandina Beach to open the third quarter.
And that's fine. Get down the field, 6-7 yard chunks at a time. And you're doing a little bit on the ground early on, and now through the air. Now you're somehow, some way finding those positives on this drive, and if you can end this drive in the end zone. This is a whole new ball game in the third quarter.
Rohe to throw on first down. Can't find anybody. Has some blockers. Gets away. Has a first down inside the 30-yard line. So Rohe, the converted wide receiver, making some moves in the open field.
Got his back in the backfield, pick up the block, sprung it there. That was Hunter Johns, it looked like.
And Will
picking
Schuster,
up
the center.
Picking up the block on the backside and Sugared there as well. So got a little positive momentum going on this drive to open the second half.
And now Malik Jones jumps offside.
The 27-yard line.
Dead ball.
Get a first down. You're inside the red zone, and
5-yard penalty.
I keep saying it. If you can punctuate this drive by getting into the end zone, this is a different feeling type of ball game. Very similar drive to what Fernandina Beach had going initially, and then got stopped on that 4th and 1 play.
First and 5. Rohe throwing, and this one knocked down. Tried to get it to Aiden Poe, but Tegan Rebane, who has been all over the place for this Yulee defense, knocked it down. Rebane has been very impressive today.
20 seconds left in the third quarter.
And you heard the public address announcer say 7:40 remaining in the third quarter. This opening drive has taken more than 4 minutes off the third quarter clock. Rohe on 2nd and 5. Hands it off. Running wide. This is Deontay Sims inside the 20. And Braylon Jones, the Sandalwood transfer at safety. A little slow getting up, and that's going to bring
Timeout for an injured player. My time.
Kyle Doherty off the sideline. Take another look here at number 6. Making the tackle. Looks like maybe landed on his hip.
Official timeout. Water break.
Earlier today, Cole, the Florida High School Athletic Association had a pretty big announcement. They decided to extend the regular season by essentially a week and push the playoff back a week as a result of that. Instead of the first night of the playoffs on November 8th, it will be November 15th, regional quarterfinals. They did that to kind of mitigate the issues that teams were having with all the weather cancellations, the 2 hurricanes. You're trying to scratch and scrape and reschedule games and playing 2 games a week, so it was the best opportunity to allow these teams to have that extra buffer. They just did that in Georgia last week as well, so the playoffs starting a week later. Now's a good time to remind you, tomorrow night coming up to you on Channel 4 is our new Super 10 high school football rankings. Every Tuesday night on the 10 o'clock news, we unveil our top 10 rankings, and will there be changes? Probably not in our top 2 with Rains and Nice both being off this week, but after that, anything is possible. Super 10 coming to you every Tuesday night, 10 o'clock on the 10 o'clock news.
Talk more about how the shifting of that schedule is going to impact things. Rohe to throw, looking for the end zone, overshoots his intended target, Jeremiah Jordan, incomplete. And is there a penalty marker on the play?
Got a personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 15 of the defense, blow to the head. 15-yard penalty for the
Ben Jones with a blow to the head of the quarterback.
Penalty again have hurt Yulee tonight. Penalty and high snaps have been the worst opponent tonight for the Yulee Hornets.
So that will give Fernandina Beach the ball right on the 10-yard line. So it'll be 1st and goal from right there. The opening drive of the second half. It's been impressive so far for Beckham Rohe and the Pirates of Fernandina Beach. Rohe keeps it and hogtied and thrown down and out of bounds. Some of the Fernandina Beach fans wanting a horse collar, but it was not forthcoming.
Yeah, surprised that was not called. I was at a game last week and saw that exact same play whistled for the horse collar. So maybe it was maybe it was more of a shoulder pad grab and throw out. That's why I'm not an official.
So now here is 2nd and goal from the 8. Rohe on the rollout. Gonna keep it himself and run it in for the touchdown. Beckham Rohe has put Fernandina Beach on the board.
Chipping away, chipping away. You go down the field, exactly the drive you needed to open the second half. Blake Willis has got to be happy with the composure his team showed. Look at this play. The defender dropped down on that play trying to cover his man. Jaisir Richardson fell down, and that opened the lane there for Rohe. It was either going to be a pass or the run. Defender slipped and fell, and Rohe takes it in himself. Just what you need to get back in this ball game.
Hudson Kenner on to attempt the extra point. Rohe is the holder on a low snap. He gets it down. The kick is up, and it is good. Nice job by Rohe to field that low snap. And Fernandina Beach has pulled to within 13 at 20-7.
Start out the third quarter here for the Pirates.
Well, it's not been positive lately, but we still cover all things Jaguars, and Jamal St. Cyr and I have a new podcast out now. You can listen to that wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, Apple, Spotify, or go over to News4JAX.com under the sports tab. And if you like to read your news instead of listen to it, we've got the News4JAX newsletter. Subscribe on News4JAX.com/newsletters and have the latest Jaguars news delivered right to your email inbox. News4JAX.com newsletters, all things Jaguars served up to you each and every week. Not a lot of positives to talk about with the Jaguars, Cole.
Well, some changes coming. Roy Robertson Harris traded today to the Seattle Seahawks for a future 6th-round pick. And I'm going to suggest we probably will see some other trades made before the trade deadline approaches. This is a Jaguars team that's going to have to retool, and it might as well start now.
I think we will see some other guys. I think Roy was the odd man out with Mason Smith. He'd take him in the 2nd round. And you want to see him play. Don't understand why they extended Roy last offseason, but they did, and he is on the way for something that Trent Baalke probably likes more than a fine scotch, which is a 6th-round draft pick.
Always collects a bunch of them. Kickoff taken at the goal line. And on the far side, here is the return by Juwan Matthews. And Matthews, beg your pardon, that is Ethan Myers. Myers takes it the distance for the touchdown.
What a play. Ethan Myers, we've seen him pop up throughout the game, running the ball, and you don't get much better than that. Just about a touchback, takes it off about the 2 or 3 yard line, and he is off to the races. Not what you want to see if you're Blake Willis and the Fernandina Beach Pirates. Ball was nearly in the end zone. He did go into the end zone.
Yeah,
wow.
We just handed off to him by Jaden Wright, and Myers, who had a 90-yard kickoff return earlier in the year, runs 100 yards in this one.
Play of the night contender, I think. Could have been a touchback, but no. He says, I am not going to let this game get closer. Fernandina Beach scores, and Yulee answers on the ensuing kickoff. Probably not what you want to see if you're a Fernandina Beach Pirate fan.
The extra point is up and good. And just like that, Fernandina Beach's momentum has been snatched away by Yulee on the kickoff return by Ethan Myers.
Talk about a way to answer.
Oh boy.
Not a sustained drive. You picked that up and boom, you were off and running. That's a quick way to answer, and you gotta like it if you're Kyle Doherty. Don't even need to take a snap, and you are in the end zone. Saturdays are made for sports on CW17. Watch action-packed ACC football, NASCAR's high-speed thrills, and the latest from Live Golf. It's all happening on CW Sports Saturdays on CW 17.
We talked about how important the opening drive of the second half would be for Fernandina Beach, and they cashed in. And now that makes this drive even more important. If they're going to come back, it's essential here late in the third quarter that the Pirates have a touchdown drive, and one that probably needs to be fairly quick.
You talk about a gut punch. I mean, you have this long, sustained, beautiful drive from Fernandina. You get in the end zone, and then one play, Yulee answers it.
Jeremiah Jordan trying to answer, and he is leveled as he crossed the 25-yard line. Knocked down and out of bounds at about the 28. So, see what the Pirates can do. They had their best and only scoring drive there in the opening stages of the third quarter. Still in the third quarter. Time is starting to become a factor. We'll get you exactly where we are in the game when we get the next timing update from the public address announcer.
It's not what you wanted. You kind of blunted a little bit of that Yulee momentum, and then you give it right back to the Hornets.
Rohi will work from the shotgun. Fakes the handoff, going to keep it himself. Running to the near side, got the edge, and then lowers his shoulder and is banged out of bounds.
Run by number 10. Stop by number 12.
A strong tackle by Cohen Bremer.
Credit Beckham Rohi. He's a guy who is a natural receiver, not a quarterback. Injuries knocked out starting quarterback, the backup quarterback, and it gets to Beckham Rohi, and he has been asked to lead this Pirates team, and he is doing just that.
Here is Rohi scrambling. He'll have the first down as he lunges forward past the 40-yard line. Rohi has been a good runner this year. Came into the game with 245 yards rushing, and he has added to that total tonight.
Timeout, official timeout, injured player.
Talking back to the FHSA decision today, Cole. Last month, the Georgia High School Athletic Association announced the same measure, that it was extending the regular season by a week, pushing the playoffs back by a week. A lot of areas in Georgia, especially South Georgia, have been affected by Hurricane Helene, and communities trying to recover. And when you're trying to squeeze in region games, those games must be played. The GHSA said, hey, we are going to address that and not force these teams to try and have to play a game during a week, and you're still recovering. Florida High School Athletic Association heard that as well and said, hey, we are going to do that where you've got teams that are not having to play 2 games in a week. We just navigated another storm, Hurricane Milton, and those teams now have an extra week of the regular season to make up some of those games.
You saw Chase Josa, sophomore right guard, coming off the field. So Fred Mailer has gone in for Fernandina Beach. 1st and 10, Rohi looking to run, now throws, and it's caught on a lunge by Jeremiah Jordan at the 50-yard line. Well, I think it's by just getting back to your point, Justin. It's the right thing to do in the spirit of not only fair and balanced competition, but in terms of player safety as well.
Absolutely.
You don't put excess work on 15, 16, 17-year-olds.
And texting with some coaches today and even last week when the FHA announced that they were holding a press conference today, we kind of all knew what that would entail. The consensus was they wish they would have announced it a week ago.
Yeah. Rohi dropped the snap, and it is recovered by Fernandina Beach. Rohi has had some adventures back there fielding snaps. That one on the quarterback, that just went right through him. Able to dive on it. That brings up 3rd down and long. But
a couple games as casualties of that result. Bartram and Nice were supposed to play tonight. When that decision came out today, those 2 schools said, okay, our game is off tonight. We're going to play the final week of the regular season. Same thing with Swanee and Wakula. That way you're not playing 2 games, a Monday, Friday kind of situation. So those 2 games off the books. They were tonight and then tomorrow night, but those are now that extra week of the regular season.
On 3rd and 9, Rohe steps up in the pocket and won't make the first down. Tackled at the 47-yard line. Taken down by Jason Brown. I wonder if some of the games that were lost even earlier in the season might get made up.
We're talking maybe a bowl St. Augustine.
Right.
But, if you're Matt Toblin or Brian Braddock, and I've not talked to either of those guys, but what is more important, health going into the playoffs or a game like that? And I think you can make the case for either. Maybe you get a game like a Bowls game made up if you're St. Augustine, but I think I would probably lean towards using that for a week of rest as you go into postseason.
4th and 6, and Yulee jumps off sides again. So 4th and 6 will become 4th and 1.
We saw this earlier today with Fernandina on a 4th and 1, and that run towards the line was swallowed up by Ryan Murphy. See what they decide to do on this 4th and 1 call.
And with Sage Newberry, who's made some big plays as a tight end, he was drawn off sides there. So 4th and a yard. Sims has done a lot of the running. Rohe has done his share of running the football as well. We'll see if it's a run or a pass here in this situation. You would think probably a run. It is, and it was read perfectly by Newberry. The guy who just jumped off sides makes a big play to stop Deontay Sims, and the ball goes over on downs to Yulee. That's a huge stop for the Hornets.
That's twice tonight on 4th and 1, and you want to talk about some muscle at the line. Sage Newberry there did it. He had a big catch earlier as the tight end, and on that drive in the first quarter, it was Ryan Murphy, the big defensive lineman. So 2 big plays by the Yulee defensive line on 4th and a yard. Fernandina cannot convert on either one, and man, Kyle Doherty has to love what he's seeing out of those guys on his front, and after jumping off sides too, so you wait to bounce back very quickly.
There are plenty of good players on this Yulee roster, as they proved last year. As Matt Riccardi goes to work on 1st down, off play action throws, it's incomplete. Tried to get it to the far side to DJ Mason. But remember, this was a Yulee team that beat Keystone in the playoffs before losing to Baker County. So a lot of the upperclassmen here have postseason experience. They've been through the wars. They've been through the battles. They expected to be better than they have been this year record-wise, and have been very close to being better than just 1-5. And boy, they are showing why they should be thought of as a stronger team than their record would indicate here tonight. Here is the handoff to Shamar Gibbs. Gibbs running to the outside, breaks a tackle, has the first down inside the 40. Gibbs kept those legs churning and moves the chains.
This Yulee team far better. I know we keep saying it, Cole, but far better than its record indicates. You've got the close losses. You got really one loss that where it got away from you, and that was that loss to Charlton County. Man, this Yulee team showing tonight. Shamar Gibbs, the younger brother of Shamarion Gibbs, who was an excellent player last year for the Hornets. Just a lot of weapons tonight for these Yulee Hornets. They took this rivalry game a little bit personally after that difficult start.
Well, it's a 20-point lead for Yulee right now as they tend to the injured player on the field here late in the 3rd quarter. And this will put a pause to things for the moment.
The next generation of WWE superstars take to the ring live each week in the CW's WWE NXT. Don't miss the action Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. on CW 17.
Looking ahead for Yulee, on Friday they will take on Flagler Palm Coast. Then they'll face Rains the following Friday, and the end of the regular season scheduled to be on the road at Menendez. We'll see what happens as a result there.
Shamarion Gibbs last season for Yulee. He was a 3rd-team All News4JAX athlete selection for me. Brother Shamar trying to continue that tradition this year with the Hornets.
1st and 10 from the 36. Quick throw. And this one is caught on the far sideline. Mason pushed toward the sideline inside the 30. This pitch and catch from Matt Riccardi to Mason in particular has been very effective on the short passing game.
I have been very impressed tonight with Yulee all the way around, but especially the ground game.
They will hand it off. Here is Myers bouncing it to the outside. He's got the first down. And flag comes in behind the play. And that may wipe out the first down gain by Ethan Myers.
I think if you're Yulee, it's been a tough start. You're in a small county. All the other schools in the county, with the exception of Hilliard, have played very well. West Nassau at 7-1, and Fernandina Beach obviously 4-3, a good start. And I think it's probably a little bit embarrassing for Yulee to be in this situation where they're 1-5 and being lapped record-wise by the other two schools. They do not look like a 1-5 team tonight.
2nd and 11. After Carty, quick throw, far side, caught. And it's Cannon Lindemood, who had a touchdown of the game against Parker. He was pushed out of bounds. Yeah, this has been a showing from Yulee of a team that looks like they know what kind of team they want to be. And of course, when you have a coach in his 4th year, he's really installed the personality. Every year changes a bit based on the players who are available. But boy, you have seen a real clinic here today by Yulee. Myers again running, trying to get to the outside. Has the edge at the 20. Inside move at the 10, down to the 5, and finally taken out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Ethan Myers has been the difference maker in this ball game for Yulee. A touchdown run, some big gains, and the kickoff return for a score. And he is leading the way for the Hornets.
This is going to set up a 1st and goal inside about the 2-yard line. Set up for a short yard TD run here from Gibbs.
After Carty had to go up and get a little bit of a high snap and gets pushed back down to the 1-yard line. We're inside of 2 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. So the clock starting to become a real factor in this one as Yulee tries to add to a 20-point lead.
Myers thinking he's going to get the handoff there to finish off that drive, and after Carty lucky to corral that one and regain possession on another kind of wonky snap there.
Both Shamar Gibbs and Ethan Myers have scored a pair of touchdowns in the game. I mentioned one of those for Myers on a kick return. And now as they bring in Corbin Fletcher, they flex both of the running backs out wide as receivers. After Carty will walk it in. Touchdown, Yulee. And the Hornets starting to put an exclamation point on this one in the late stages of the 3rd quarter. That's the 2nd touchdown run by Matt Carty in the season, by the way.
Great showing tonight from Yulee Hornets. I said it a minute ago. This does not look like a 1-5 football team. I think this is a way of getting a little bit of that frustration out from.
They'll go for 2. The pitch out, and he will walk in for the touchdown.
Daniel Armenta?
Armenta, the kicker, runs it in. They had brought him out as if to kick the extra point, and then did the old swinging gate play with the offensive line. They never swung. And so there's the kicker running it in for 2.
Sneaky fantasy football play this week, Daniel Armenta.
That's the 2nd time you've mentioned high school football fantasy. I'm starting to worry about you.
I'm going to trademark it here soon.
If somebody out there is playing high school football fantasy, please get help.
It's the newest wave in FanDuel. Next year we're unveiling the partnership with them.
Well, heck, you can have some level of NIL in high school now, so why not, I guess, right?
Great performance tonight from Yulee, and I think this is a little bit of frustration release from how close some of their losses have been this season. The loss to West Nassau, the tough game at Charlton County really was their only one-sided loss. The loss to Parker a couple weeks ago, but I do think that Yulee is working out a little bit of those tough loss frustrations out tonight on Fernandina Beach, saying, hey, we are far better than 1-5. And well, we may have lost to West Nassau and Nassau County. Not quite ready to sit at the bottom of the landscape here in Nassau County. Not just yet.
You may wonder why run a play like that up 34-7 or 33-7. But I will remind you that Kyle Doherty was an outstanding kicker in high school at Merritt Island and later in college at Southern Illinois. His handoff right up the middle, and Deontay Sims carries it forward for Fernandina Beach. So perhaps a little nod to the kicker by the former kicker head coach there. And Armenta, who kicked a 39-yard PAT against West Nassau. Then that was his high water mark of the year. Now he's got another highlight. And Rohi going deep. This one out there and incomplete. Jeremiah Jordan nearly had it in double coverage.
And hey, I respect letting your kicker run into 2-point conversion. And maybe your only time in high school athletics that's get your name in the box score, so to speak. My brother, I played high school basketball at University Christian, and his senior year he played in one game and broke his wrist the next game at practice, and his 3-point basket that he hit in his first and only game of his career, my parents had it on the fridge for many, many years, the box score. So you remember what you do in high school football, and it could be something as simple as a PAT or running into a 2-point conversion in a rivalry blowout that you and your family will remember for years.
The other thing I will mention is the possibility of the running clock situation coming up here. 35-point game in the second half brings a running clock. Right now it's 28, but if Yulee were to get it back and score another touchdown, take the extra point, and get the running clock, which certainly helps to reduce injuries, particularly on a short week like both of these teams are going to have. Low snap. Rohi wasn't ready for it. Sims picks it up and it was immediately stopped by Michael Jones and Jason Brown. That's the end of the third quarter. It's been all Yulee here tonight. Fernandina Beach, a tough go of it on Monday Night Football. 12 minutes to go in a Nassau County matchup between the Pirates and the Hornets.
Like what I've seen tonight from Yulee. I keep mentioning it, the ground game and this defensive line. Really like what I've seen out of these Hornets. All across the front line. They've made 2 exceptional tackles on 4th and short. And then the big play attacks, be it from Shamar Gibbs, Ethan Myers, occasional throw and tuck and run from Preston Matricardi. Very impressed with what this Yulee team has come out tonight. You're 1-5. You're probably not going to the playoffs, but you still got pride. You still got these in-county matchups. They mean something. Mean something to the community, the kids. These kids know that Yulee has won 10 in a row in this series. They have not lost to Fernandina Beach in quite some time, and they want to keep that going.
No doubt about that. And the bragging rights were something that both coaches talked about when we spoke with them before the game.
I mean, Blake Willis is a Fernandina Beach guy.
Yeah.
I mean, this rivalry means something to guys on the sidelines in this game. And if you played at your alma mater and you come back to coach, it means something to you. It means something. Proverbial throw out the records and just play some good football. And I think Yulee has done that tonight. They have taken this game seriously. I'd love to see another Yulee West Nassau game at some point this season. I know it's not going to happen, but would love to see that Nassau County clash once again.
22-21 when the two teams played.
Such a good game.
Back in September.
Such a good game.
Right down to the wire. And then the following week, Yulee beat Ribault in a road game played at Riverside. And that was the only win of the season before tonight for the Hornets. But it certainly looks like they will make it 2 in the win column. Matricardi tosses it back. Here's the wide receiver pass that's incomplete. trying to get it to Jaquan Matthews. It's thrown by Lee Homitz, who is the backup quarterback. A guy who Kyle Doherty says is such a calming voice for Preston Matricardi in there. He's a senior. Wants to be a football coach one day. So he came in to play a little wide receiver there on the wide receiver pass. 2nd and 10. Hand off to Fletcher. And did the ball come out? They ruled him down. Been recovered by Sage Newberry.
One of my favorite things in high school football is the in-county rivalry in some of these smaller counties, and this certainly qualifies. I worked in St. Johns County for quite a few years, previous stop of mine, and there was nothing like a St. Augustine-Bartram game, or a St. Augustine-Nice, or Nice-Bartram, or Menendez-St. Augustine, Creekside-Pontevedra. Those games just meant so much more in a smaller county. You can even say a Charlton-Yulee game. I mean, those games, cross-border games or small county games, they just mean so much more than those traditional big school, big city games. It's just different. The Friday night lights, the Monday night lights, it's just such a different feeling. I really love these games.
I've covered a lot of games in Nassau County. A lot of them were county games with Fernandina Beach against West Nassau, or Yulee against Fernandina, you name it. A lot of times when the voting was being utilized for what was it called, the Football Friday game of the week, we would get a lot of votes from Nassau County. And the two things that always stood out to me there, number one, is how well supported those games are, how well attended by the communities. Always something that really means something to them. And that carried on to the field. The players on the field always give great effort because they know how important those games are.
Yeah,
to their teammates, their classmates.
Whether that's Callahan and West Nassau, I mean, they used to have the horse on the sideline and come running out, and that's such a good environment. My dad has lived in Callahan for many, many years, and to see that community, such a good thing. Fernandina Beach, these Yulee games are so important, so vital. I mean, this is a game, to me, like a Bartram-Nice, where one school was born out of the other one. Yulee was born out of Fernandina Beach, and to see this rivalry grow from when it was first played, I believe back in 06 to what it is now. Yes, there are more options. You have different choices, things to do on a Friday night or a Monday night in this situation, but it just is so neat to see how this rivalry has blossomed, developed, the new faces, the new names, the new coaches. It's just so cool, nostalgic feeling almost in a rivalry like this.
On 4th down, Yulee will go for it, making the handoff. Matricardi going to run it. He picks up the first down to the 50-yard line. I would also say, Justin, that when you start talking about the turnout tonight, what a great opportunity on a Monday night to get out in weather that's been so great with all the rain we've had this year. Great excuse to be out and celebrate here. But I'm so happy to see so many fans from both sides make it out to the game on a Monday night and to support these two teams. Hand it off to Fletcher, who slides down. Might have to check those cleats. Second time Fletcher has slipped down in as many carries. But these are games that matter. They'll have some bragging rights, Yulee will. Did you mention the 10 in a row before tonight that they'd won in this series?
10 in a row.
Close to 11. Matricardi hit and dropped. He'll lose a few yards. The clock running.
Number 55, Kevin Ortiz.
After Kevin Ortiz makes the tackle. Fernandina Beach wanted to play with reckless abandon on defense tonight, and they just haven't been able to because the offensive line for Yulee has really paved the way, and with Ethan Myers and Shamar Gibbs and Matricardi all running the football so effectively, it has been a game controlled by the Hornets throughout.
Yeah, I think it centers on that offensive line, defensive line too. I mean, I mentioned the 2 4th down stops. I mean, to make 2 of those in the same game. First quarter, mid-third quarter, really good. I think just kind of symbolizes how difficult it's been for Fernandina Beach to move the ball.
Third and 12, wow. And the screen set up, and you can see the disappointment. That should have been an interception. Kalani Tucker, who has made some big plays for this Pirates defense this year, nearly had another.
Nearly a pick six there. You have that. He's running to the end zone, and it just kept moving, and he is so upset. He knew the end zone was in his sight. That's how I would be reacting if I had that similar play.
Tucker leads the team in sacks and tackles for loss this year. He's also forced a couple of fumbles. This is a Fernandina Beach defense, we should mention, that came into the game with 18 takeaways this year. They have not been able to make those big plays. And this one down at the 2 on a terrific punt by Corbin Fletcher.
Long field ahead for Fernandina, and they had a situation like this earlier in the game from the other end zone when they had to punt from just about the stripe in the back of the end zone.
Time is certainly against Fernandina Beach here as well. Down by 28. They'll have the ball at their own 3-yard line. So now the sprinklers are going off. Reminiscent of the Jaguars-Dolphins playoff game after the 1999 season.
62-7.
Yeah.
Blowout.
Well, obviously these are on a sprinkler timer. But I don't think anything's going to rain on Yulee's parade here tonight. Some of the Hornets being chased from their spot on the sideline.
I could see why the sprinklers are starting on a Monday night, because there's typically no Monday night football here at Fernandina Beach.
One of the logistical challenges of moving a game like this. Rohe will hand it off, and Sims just does get out of the end zone to avoid the safety. You know, we've seen some flashes from Sims, but the Fernandina Beach offense just has not been able to sustain anything since being stuffed on that 4th down try on their very first drive. It has been very tough sledding for the Pirates. Rohe hands it off again, and again Sims barely able to get out of the end zone, back to the 1-yard line.
The defensive front of Yulee so good tonight.
Yeah, Ryan Murphy, Michael, and Malik Jones.
Official timeout.
And that is Deontay Sims, who is down on the ground.
My timeout.
Certainly hope this isn't anything serious or long-lasting.
Sims has been one of the catalysts today in this season for the Pirates offense. You hate to see him go down. Hopefully it's not anything serious. We're out of cramp season with the weather changing a little bit cooler at this point. But hopefully nothing significant for that young man. Right now is a good time to remind you that we have got a lot of high school sports in our area, and Sponge Franklin and I talk about it every week. We'll have one coming out for you tomorrow afternoon, the Varsity 4 podcast. You can listen to that on our website, the sports page, News4JAX.com, or get it wherever your favorite podcasts are found. The Varsity 4 Sports Podcast. Sponge Franklin and I coming to you tomorrow afternoon with a brand new one.
Now looking ahead to a little longer regular season, as we mentioned. Playoff standings starting to come into shape a little bit more. But it looks like they are going to call for some additional aid for Deontay Sims, and here comes the stretcher and the golf cart. Not what you want to see.
Hate to see that. I hate that for Deontay Sims. And the injury, not something he can shake off, and hopefully this is not anything significant. Hate to see that for the young man of Fernandina Beach. Has played so well tonight and been a big factor in their success this season.
He had a goal of being a 1,000-yard rusher this year. He'd been averaging 100 yards per game. And you certainly hope this doesn't derail his season. Let's see if we can see exactly what happened on this previous run. Tough to see through the bodies on that angle. You see him sort of double clutch the ball and then fell forward with a defender wrapped around his legs. Nothing too apparent there, but it does appear that they're working on the leg. Good to see that he's sitting up at this point, so nothing more serious involving, say, a back or a neck, but
hopefully he is okay. Good crowd in the stands there for the host Pirates.
It's the home side, and that's the visitor's side.
For a Monday night football game at 6 o'clock, people are just getting off work and trying to make it to the field through all the traffic and chaos that comes with a 5:30 or 6 o'clock game. And good crowd tonight at Fernandina Beach High School. I'm really glad that the schools could work it out to where this game was actually played tonight, and there was talk of it moving to next week so it could be played at Yulee, but instead the schools were able to hammer out the details and have it played tonight at 6 o'clock. An early kick tonight so all the families could get there, and good crowds on both sides. And Nassau County latest chapter in this rivalry looks like it is going to be the 11th consecutive win for the Hornets in this series, and they have really controlled that. They've needed a little bit of good luck after a 1-5 start. This will be 15 of 18 wins in this series, provided this 35-7 score holds up.
They continue to work on Deontay Sims, junior running back. And earlier we saw Kyle Doherty, the Yulee head coach, come over and tap Sims on the head, say something to him, words of support. All these players kneeling down, trying to show some
couple scoring updates from there around the area. Fleming Island 37, my number 9 Beachside Barracudas 10. Fourth quarter in that one. St. Augustine, that game started at 6 as well and ended about 20 minutes ago, courtesy of the running clock. 56-6. The number 4 Yellow Jackets with a big romp over Clay Blue Devils. That game used to be a pretty good rivalry game.
Well, now that you have seen 7-8 weeks of high school football, Justin Barney, who do you give the best chances to go deep into the playoffs in our area?
I think you got to look at Rains. I think you got to look at Bowles and maybe a Bradford, although Bradford coming off a loss last week were the issues that I think we've talked about with Bradford or with even a St. Augustine. I have concerns about St. Augustine's defense the later they get into the playoffs, and I do have concerns about the Bradford offense, and we saw Newberry win 21-7 over Bradford.
And they're stabilizing that right leg for Deontay Sims. Hopefully it is not anything too serious, but anytime you see the golf cart come out and that kind of time spent working on the young man.
Yeah, hate that for him, and doesn't look like something simple like a cramp. And I know his teammates going over and saying messages of support. You hate to see that to anybody, let alone a high school athlete said before, Cole, it's such a small window of time that you have to compete in high school athletics, and this is not an NFL career, college career. I mean, it's such a small window, small opportunity in your life to be able to compete, and you hate that this could be something that does not look like you'll be back next game type of injury.
Yeah, well, we will follow progress. Fernandina Beach has 2 more games on the schedule after this one. They'll play at Clay on Friday. And then Impact Christian on the 25th. With 2 more regular season games remaining for Fernandina Beach as Sims is taken off the field. It has been a rough night in general for Fernandina Beach, and when you see one of your best players taken off the field not under his own power, doesn't help things at all. So here's 3rd down from the 1-yard line. Rohe takes the snap, gonna fire it deep, and this one is caught at the 30-yard line on a lunge. What a play made there by Alex Polwitz.
What a grab.
His 2nd catch of the game.
Under heavy pressure.
By number 3, Alex Polwitz.
A little bit underthrown to get up there and escape the potential safety, and what a grab by Polwitz there to lay out and make an adjustment, come over a little bit to the right and snag it.
First down at the 30-yard line. Breathing room for Fernandina Beach, but they need much more plays like that in a short amount of time. Here is Rohe lifted up rugby style and taken down for the loss. He went to try to jump over the defenders who were rushing at him.
If we're going to see the Tim Tebow jump pass, but a little different lifting up Tim Tebow than a high school quarterback, converted receiver.
Jason Brown credited with a sack on that play. And a loss of 9. And here's Rohe scrambling and throwing, and it is dropped by Ethan Watts, the tight end.
Yulee has been all over, even short passes like that. There's 3 guys around him. There was a pass in the end zone earlier, 3 guys around the intended target. So Yulee, they're getting to the target quickly and with a lot of jerseys around them. Great coverage in the secondary tonight. You've seen nothing open down the field. Blake Rohe.
Rohe with a touchdown run for the only score for Fernandina Beach in this ball game. Now to throw it. Can't find anybody, and down he goes at the 21-yard line. Gets a pat on the back from Keegan Rebane, middle linebacker for Yulee. Boy, the injury to Deontay Sims really took the air out of the balloon in this one, and Rohe coming over to the sideline as the punt team comes on. Hudson Kenner will boot it away for Fernandina, but before he can, the whistles blow and the flags fly.
Dead ball. Encroachment on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
We'll give 5 more yards for Fernandina, but the punting team will remain out there. And here is the punt. It's a low end over end kick that takes a high bounce and bounces out of bounds just right at the 50-yard line. And it will be Yulee football with a chance to salt this one away. But we have been spoiled this year, Justin Barney, with some great games, highly competitive. And if you would have asked me how this one was going to go, I would not have said 35-7 Yulee.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's been an impressive and a little bit unforeseen performance.
all of our games of the week have been, I mean, you go back to week 1, the Range Bowls game, 32-23. I think that was the most lopsided game of the year, and that was an excellent game. Down to the nitty-gritty of the 4th. Ponte Vedra Bartram in week 2, good game. Columbia Trinity Christian, Coit Creek Beachside. We've had so many good games, and this is deviated from the script. It's been all Yulee Hornets in this one. So I think 6 for 7 has been okay. Pretty good at batting average.
Pretty good. Mark Gibbs with a run there, got back to the line of scrimmage. Nothing further. Again, the clock is not operable, so it's being kept on the field, and we're getting occasional updates from the public address announcer. Here is Matt Riccardi, going to run it. Has the first down and bangs his way forward to the 36-yard line.
He's Preston's father, a baseball coach. Yulee, Baker County as well. Coached a former player of the year, Baker County. Hunter Hanks.
Holding call on Yulee on this play, so we'll bring the ball back.
Mother Mandy was a basketball coach at Orange Park. So some athletic bloodlines in his family.
Destined to be an athlete, huh?
A sophomore, committed to Florida State in baseball.
Yeah, his numbers as a freshman pitcher, very impressive. We might as well get into that here as the game plays out. As a pitcher, he was 6-3 last year with a 1.66 earned run average. He struck out 65 batters in 38 innings. Also happened to hit .250 with 17 stolen bases in 27 games. Scored 19 runs, knocked in 13. That was as a freshman. And one of the things that Kyle Doherty really likes about him is that he takes such good care of the football. 3 interceptions this year. But when you talk about a sophomore quarterback, just 3 interceptions, you'll take that just about every time. After Riccardi will throw it here. Going deep downfield, has a man caught, and running away from everybody is DJ Mason as the Fernandina secondary watched him go.
Home run ball, and he is waving goodbye. This one is over. The first home run ball on offense tonight, delivered up by Preston Matt Riccardi. Turn out the lights. This one is over. DJ Mason putting the exclamation point on this one.
And perhaps most importantly, with the extra point, it will be a 35-point lead for Yulee, which means the running clock comes into play. And the kick is good. So that will hasten the end of this Nassau County rivalry game that has been dominated from the outset by the Yulee Hornets.
So Cole, we have seen a lot of good games of the week, a lot of good high school football highlights in our area, and this is the first of 2 nights this week for our Varsity 4 high school football show. Tonight at 10:30 on Channel 4. Catch the highlights and recaps from this one as well as others in our area. And oh, by the way, on Friday night, you can catch our second night of the Varsity 4 show this week. That's coming to you Friday night at 10:30. Channel 4 and Varsity 4 coming to you with all the high school football action and highlights in our area.
That will follow next week's, later this week's Varsity 4 Game of the Week, Part 2, with a great matchup between St. Augustine and Bartram Trail.
Seen many of those in my time in this job. St. Augustine won the first 17 in a row in that series before Bartram broke through, and it's been a good series all the time in that St. Johns County Classic.
This kickoff goes out of bounds for the second time. It will be a procedure call. Be brought out to the 35-yard line. And running clock continues to move. We don't know exactly where it stands, but it is a 42-7 Yulee lead over Fernandina Beach, as Beckham Rohe heads back out once again at quarterback. Both of these teams keeping most of their starters and regulars in at this point. Of course, both teams dealing with a number of injuries, so the options are somewhat limited in some regard. We'll hand it off to Ja'Shawn Washington, the freshman running back. He steps in with Sims' injury. Washington gets maybe a yard.
Your Blake Willis and your Fernandina Beach had a tough 2-week stretch with West Nassau last week, Yulee this week, 2 tough losses. Get back on track in a hurry. You still have a season to play for.
Rohe going long, looking for Aiden Poe, and the defensive back did not play the ball whatsoever. Collided with Poe, and that'll be pass interference. Easy call to make there, as Jaisir Richardson banged into Poe.
15-yard penalty from the previous spot, resulting in a first down.
Easy call there. I think if you're Blake Willis, you get back on the horse. You still got the Sunshine State Athletic Association playoffs to contend with. Season's not over by any stretch. You've had a tough 2 weeks. You still have quite a bit to play for. Hope injuries are not significant once you kind of survey the issues from tonight, the health issues. The young man we just saw go off in the cart. And you just kind of hope that you can regain a little bit of that health for this stretch run of the season. 2 rivalry losses back to back.
Well, that will do it for this Nassau County rivalry. All Yulee tonight as the Hornets pick up their second victory of the season, dominating from the first quarter on. 42-7 the final over Fernandina Beach. Pirates fall to 4-4 on the season. Again, next week, later this week, it'll be our Varsity 4 game of the week between St. Augustine and Bartram Trail. This one, all Yulee, as they send Fernandina Beach to the showers with a victory here on our Varsity 4 game of the week, Monday Night Football style. For Justin Barney, I'm Cole Pepper. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Friday.
It's Friday night, where student athletes play with nothing to lose, chasing greatness, building bonds.
And whole communities come together under the lights to witness passion, pride, and moments they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
This is football, high school football. There's no tradition like it.
And we're here to support it. Farah is proud to sponsor Varsity 4 football.
A world of ideas comes to life through Gemstone Media. We blend picture and sound, persuasion and emotion, purpose and passion to brand your company and increase sales. We broadcast sports and train military and industrial personnel. Let us demonstrate the power of effective communication. On the air, online, on demand, on time, on budget, on point. Let Gemstone Media get your ideas turned on.